Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy, once again, HMK, and I'd like to welcome all of you back to the fifth dimension. We have a lot to talk about in this new episode considering Kingdom Hearts. The last time we talked about Kingdom Hearts was technically Melody and Memory when we were talking about it with Sky and Jared for the Twitch exclusive episodes. But the last true episode was with the Gamer's Joy, Jared, where we were talking about Kingdom Hearts Rewind, and we went to some explosive avenues. That was quite the episode. But now we have to talk about the Endgame that we are readily approaching when it comes to Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. Yes, the end is coming. It's not anytime soon, as Nomura has stated, but Nomura has stated that it is indeed coming. We are in the end game. We are in the final steps, the final phases of Union Cross, and that he says this particular story, this arc that we're going through right now, is incredibly important, and it's a story that he's been wanting to tell for a very long time now, and that we should all pay attention to it moving forward when it comes to Kingdom Hearts 2020, and Kingdom Hearts Phase 2. Now, the big elephant in the room when it comes to Union Cross is the rage, the wrath, the sadness, the madness of he who would become the graceful assassin. That's right, Lauriam. As finally he limps to the rest of the Union leaders, battered and bruised after getting the old knockout, getting the old, razzle-dazzle from Maleficent, he rolls up to the Union leaders and he is still limping. And it's as if Murphy's Law could not have a more important matter in this whole situation. He hears them talking about the disappearance of his younger sister, which he still saw in a vision. Don't forget that. We saw Strelitzia communicate with Lauriam with the mysterious white coat, right? And, oh man, he was ready for answers. This man straight up rolled up to Brain, grabbed him by the necktie, is like, what happened to my sister? What happened to Strelitzia? Ephemer, like the leader, the good leader that he is, tried to calm down the situation. And we all saw what happened. We all saw what happened! He said, stay out of this, Ephemer! And just straight up, bro, he sent that dude flying. Let's talk about that for a second. Lauriam got his ass beat by Maleficent. I don't know, he got his ass beat by Maleficent, he got double teamed by Maleficent in darkness, it's unclear, but Maleficent was gone, and he was on the floor. He limping out of that area, all the way up to the Union Room, and this man had enough strength to send Ephemer, to the wall. To the window, to the wall. To the sweat drops down my balls. Skeet skeet. Holy shit! I can't believe this. So, this man just straight up floored. It's funny because a lot of us were theorizing when we saw that hint from the Melody and Memory panel at TGS where we saw Ephemer on the floor and Brain had, Lauriam had Brain in his clutches. And I'm like, bro, imagine if Lauriam straight up just, dismantles Ephemer out of the way. And he did! And I'm like, man, things are getting physical in Kingdom Hearts. Disney, this ain't no hanky-panky anymore. So he sent the dude flying. Brain finally surmises that this is what the darkness wants. We're going to be talking about the darkness too. This is what the darkness wants. The darkness wants to integrate and seed in the doubt, despair, fear, anguish, anxiety in order to tear down and rip all the connections that these friends are supposed to have down to shreds, down to ribbons. Everything's coming out apart at the seams. Everything's coming out millhouse for the darkness, but when it comes to our heroes, everything's falling apart. So, when Lauriam finally decides to let up and let, Brain decide to take a breather and whatnot, in rolls in Ventus. And Ventus decided to roll he decided to roll a d20, and he rolled a 1. It was not an optimal idea, Ventus. So, as we've seen, Ventus rolled up. I am the one who killed your sister. I am the one who erased your sister. I am the one who made your sister go poof. Right? Now, as we all know, because it's been so long since we talked about Dark Road, Union Cross, that specific advent when it comes to the avenue of the end game of Union Cross. As we all know, we finally saw Strelitzia's death. And it's so funny. This mystery, this arc, has been so deep-seated into Kingdom Hearts fans for such a long time. Where it's like, we saw Strelitzia, like, wow, a new Kingdom Hearts character. Wow, she looks so cute. Wow, she's adorable. Wow, new character. Alright, yeah, new characters. Alright, Nomura, I see what you're doing. 2 weeks later, she got deaded. And we don't know how she got deaded, and we don't know who deaded her, right? So, we finally found out, little breadcrumbs, that Ventus was there when she got deaded. But we're like, did Ventus kill her? Did the darkness within Ventus kill her? Did Vanitas kill her? We didn't get these answers until very recently. And then we see that Ventus, with a blank expression in his eyes, was in the room where Strelitzia got killed. The darkness appeared from him, and as if the darkness took the form of a blade, cut down Strelitzia. Look, I know it's a hanky. Look, I know it's small, hanky panky. You know, it's a mobile game, Disney, and like the little chibi art and whatever. But despite all that, that was hard to watch. That was hard to watch, and we literally just saw we saw someone get cut down. Like when it comes to Kingdom Hearts in regular graphics or whatever, we see cut down from a distance. We see cut down when they're blocking. We see them like get physically hit by the Keyblade and just flung back and all that stuff. But when it comes to like a slash down, just like bam, slashed, crumple, right? We don't see that often. We do not see that often. Even when Sora cut down Roxas, we just saw the cut, and it was like from Roxas' perspective, but we didn't see like Roxas. All we saw was just like he dropped the Keyblade and just like fell down. Luxor was out. That was pretty rough. Where Sora straight up went for the kill, cut him through, and then Luxor was like, "Cards, protect me!" And then you see the cards just like, shing, and I'm like, Sora's channeling his inner Virgil. It's like, and then shoo. But Strelitzia straight up just got, man. That's just so. Ventus was there. The darkness within Ventus was one responsible. And I still believe that the darkness within Ventus is Vanitas, but it's not going to be known as Vanitas up until we get some sort of confirmation that Vanitas appears up in a future Kingdom Hearts game or whatnot, because Vanitas is the name that Xehanort specifically gave that darkness. The darkness got extracted, it took form. We all thought that Xehanort created Vanitas out of the darkness he extracted from Xehanort, but thanks to Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, Union Cross, and Dark Road, we now know that Vanitas states, "Oh, I am darkness, and I was hidden inside you for a very long time. All Xehanort did was let me out. All Xehanort did was let me out." And then Xehanort christened this darkness as Vanitas. So when we go forward into Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, forward with the story, because now they are confronted with Mr. Darkness. One of the darknesses, the darkness, whatever. It's not going to go by the alias of Vanitas anytime soon, right? Because, you know, Vanitas was a name that, you know, Xehanort gave it and whatnot. So when it comes to this darkness, we still don't truly understand how long it's been inside of Ventus and what its true motives was, because I feel we're going to get to that, you know, true deal on what the darkness wants to do. And here's when the fifth dimensional brain starts turning with the cogs when it comes to the light, the darkness, the Keyblade War, what's going down between these two factions, these two beings, whatever. So Lauriam is pissed because Ventus confesses that he's the one who killed her, even though it was the darkness. He didn't really have a hand. He was there, and the darkness came from him. So I mean, like, you know, he's a conspirator, not even a conspirator. Like, he's like, what do you call him? What's the word I'm looking for? An attachment? No. What do you call it when it comes to an accessory? There you go. He was an accessory. Technically, he was an accessory to the crime committed to Strelitzia, right? And Ventus came out and confessed, and Lauriam was pissed. And Lauriam went for the jugular. Lauriam, with a shade over his eyes, he was ready to kill Ventus. If it wasn't for Brain and Ephemer, then, you know, Ventus would have been dismantled. Brain was the one who was able to distract him long enough in order for him to like, hey, listen, chill. And then Lauriam's like, you're in my way. He went after Brain first. Brain backed up, and then as soon as Ephemer saw that Lauriam was going for Ventus, he went in with the block, and he saved our boy Ventus. And then out of the darkness, literally, the darkness. And then he states, or rather I should say it states, you finally realize that we exist. Not I exist. We. We? We. We. So, oof. Oh my god. So when it comes to that whole notion of we, the darkness, and what have you, is that there's a couple of ideas and a couple of theories that come into mind, right? And a lot of people are going off onto a theory, a speculation that I agree with, is that the darkness could be a hive mind type setup, where all of them are one. There could be multiple, but all of them refer to as one, as we are Legion, we are the Borg, assimilation. Resistance is futile. And just straight up like a Borg type thing. You know, they get assimilated. People get assimilated into the darkness. The darkness are like, they could possibly be all encompassing, sharing knowledge and whatnot. I mean, they could, but they could not. That's one idea. Another idea is that, as the Master suggests, that the darkness does take on forms. Not only can it hide within that of people, but does take on forms of people when he was a child, when the Keyblade War was literally fought between darkness and light. And that darkness did not take on the form of monsters. It did not take on the form of, you know, energy or, you know, elements or whatever. It took on the form unlike that of people, even though they weren't really humans themselves, right? Which does go in line with how we see Vanitas, you know, because that's the one big case in point that kind of set Vanitas apart from all other aspects of the darkness. We always kind of knew the darkness as heartless, as an element of darkness, but long and short, we always knew that either the darkness takes form in, you know, creating an element of darkness around a heart that has been swallowed by the darkness, thus creating a heartless, right? Or that the darkness can fill up a vessel, and then that thing becomes a vessel filled with darkness, someone's darkness or the element of darkness, yada yada, whatever, right? The fact that Vanitas was able to take the form of a human, just purely being made out of darkness, and did not look like a heartless, did not need a vessel in order for him to like get up and run around and stuff, that literally goes in line with what the Master of Masters is saying on how the darkness literally acted as when he was a kid, right? And that's like the mind-blowing thing of like, damn, Nomura, 5D chess! Bro, he's been setting this thing up since Birth by Sleep. And that's why I really feel that the next saga villain could literally be Cognitive Darkness, that I've come to name them as Cognitive Darkness. Darkness that are able to think, act, move, speak, and appear as humans as themselves. They don't need to be some sort of like monster or unversed or heartless or just some sort of just like nasty looking thing. It's like, no, I look like you. I am darkness, though. We are darkness. We are all the darkness, right? So it could be that they're hive mind or that they're not hive mind. They could act individually, but in the sense of acting individually, they could probably still act accordingly for the favor of all darkness out there. Because the way that Heartless worked, at least like, you know, regular Heartless, unlike, you know, Sora, Ansem, and Scar, are that they run completely off of instinct, yet they work together off that instinct. You know, the only time we've seen Heartless fighting is like in very small instances or whatever, but, you know, for the most part, unless they're being controlled by someone, unless they're acting off of pure instinct, you know, Heartless work together for the common goal of their survival in mind, right? Which is something that could have been truly inlaid on the concept of the darkness, of how they worked before the whole notion of Heartless became, you know, proper knowledge after Ansem, you know, looking into what, blah, blah, blah. Ansem looking into, of how Heartless work and whatnot. So the darkness has been a problem since, you know, the Master was a kid and whatnot. And it really boils down to the notion on what the darkness exactly what do they want? What do they want to do? You know, I really, like, they seem very intelligent, extremely intelligent. Like, literally, the Darkness was playing 5D chess with the Death of Strelitzia, you know, fucking around with the Union leaders, doing all this stuff and whatnot, hiding within people, hiding within Ventus. They are very intelligent. So I really don't think the point of Darkness is just to, like, oh, eliminate the light, destroy everything, consume everything, you know, that's it. They have to have some sort of plan in mind, some sort of end game, some sort of goal, you know. It could, you know, at the same time, it could be just one of those aspects where the Darkness literally works like, oh, why are you doing all this? You know, why do I need a reason? Why do I need a reason? You know, I just want to destroy stuff. I just want to make people suffer. I want to make people sad. I want to kill things. I want to see the light suffer. You know, I just want to. Because Kingdom Hearts doesn't have any villains like that. You know, even with Disney villains, they always have to have some sort of goal. You know, they want to rule the world. Xehanort wants to reset the universe for the greater good. The Master of Masters wants to do something or whatever. But we really don't have any Kingdom Hearts villains that are bad just for the sake of being bad, right? Even with Vanitas. Vanitas was just serving Master Xehanort. You know, Vanitas could have some sort of ulterior motives or whatever, but all he wanted to do, like the most he ever wanted to do beyond that of what Xehanort is trying to get him to do, is that he wants to see the Keyblade War again, right? And then that could give us a hint on what the Darkness really want, you know, because it could be like they're just bad just for the sake of being bad, or they like to see the Keyblade War continue. They have the thrill of war. They have the thrill of seeing fighting. They have the thrill of all that. That's what they want. That's what they want to see. But then this is when you go into the big brain fifth dimensional moment, because this literally turned the cog turned as I was saying this, right? Perhaps the goal of the Darkness is to not let fighting die, right? And at the core of all fighting, at the core of all war, is what, class? Do you know? The basic, long and short, core of all war, of all fighting, is disagreement. Is discord. It's basically disagreement. That level of disagreement escalates to different emotions that leads to fighting, right? And as we've seen in Kingdom Hearts, these negative emotions, the emotions of greed, distrust, lust, wrath, all of these 7 deadly sins! Oh my god! All of these sins, all of these machinations of negative emotions and negative, you know, feelings. That's what sustains Darkness. That's what sustains the Darkness. That is what allows the Darkness to grow stronger, to exist. Darkness lies within the hearts of men because of discord, disagreement, stuff that leads to fighting, stuff that leads to war, right? And that is probably the endgame machinations of the Darkness itself. It does not want to see the war end. It does not want to see fighting end. It does not want to see that, because with the end, with the advent of utopia, with the advent of, you know, everything is nice, everyone agrees, everyone is good to each other, with the advent of the ultimate pure good, there is no room for Darkness to grow. There really isn't. So what does Darkness needs to do in order to exist? It's all about existence. It's all about survival with Darkness. What do they need to do in order to continue to exist in the world? They need to keep the fighting going. Whether it be light or darkness, it doesn't matter for that. Whether it be light versus light, whether it be darkness versus darkness, it doesn't matter. As long as there is disagreement, as long as there's discord, as long as there's war, the Darkness will continue to grow. You know? That's what's gonna go down, right? And then, you know, with the concept of the Master of Masters, he's trying to end the war by possibly creating, like, this is what I feel the Master Master saw in Xehanort, right? The Master Master seems to, like, oh yeah, he initiated the Keyblade War. He's trying to you know, finally get the war to end. Because, I mean, the war has been going on since he was a kid. It's not like he started the Keyblade War. He just kept it going. He pushed it. He nudged it in a way that possibly can end the war. Because that's what he wants. That's what he said in, you know, in the latest updates of Union Cross. Is that he wants to end the war. And by doing that, he probably saw, like, a kindred spirit within Xehanort, where maybe a universal reset is, you know, needed in order to create a world, a universe without fighting. A world, a universe without discord. A world, a universe without people, you know, going at each other's throats. Because all that negative energy, all that negative emotion is what leads to the birth of new darkness. To the birth, the sustenance of darkness, right? So that's probably what his true endgame is. That's the endgame of the Master Masters, and that's what, you know, that's what Xehanort wanted, because he really did go through those lines where it's like, you know, darkness burgeoned in the hearts of evil men, and then, you know, the world was plagued by darkness because of evil burden in the hearts of man, you know. So that's what the Master wants. That's what Xehanort wanted. However, that's not what the darkness wants, and the darkness wants to make sure. That's probably what the darkness wants to do. The darkness wants to make sure that everyone stays fighting, so that darkness always exists. All right, and then that really boils down to the whole question and notion about, you know, the possible coexistence of light and darkness. The elimination of darkness. What does that mean for light? You know, because Mickey even said that in Kingdom Hearts 2. You know, like, one can't exist without the other. Darkness is half of everything. You know. But that's probably purely based on how he knows the world as he knows it, as he lives in it, right? You know, maybe it's possible to, you know, wipe the slate clean and create a universe where darkness is not needed, where darkness, you know, is no longer, doesn't need to be sustained by light in itself or whatever. So, you know, light doesn't need to be sustained by darkness as being its other half or whatnot. So, with that whole idea of existence, of survival, you know, isn't there a possible way to have darkness and light coexist? Xehanort mused over that idea once upon a time, but then he's like, yeah, no, this doesn't work. Reset button. That's what's probably going to go down. And, you know, maybe that's what is needed to be done. But then at the same time, you know, we've seen Kingdom Hearts heroes utilize darkness in ways that they utilize darkness to serve the light. Riku, Terra, yeah, Ventus. And then, you know, like Sora, you know, rage mode, rage form, anti form, not dark splicer, light breaker or whatever. But I really feel that there can be a way for light and darkness to coexist. You know, I just feel that those that serve the light are too blinded by the notion of utopia, of perfection, of a world without fighting, a world without darkness and stuff like that. You know, and, you know, I feel that any type of world like that is always doomed to fall on each other, because, you know, when you take away discord, you take away human thought. When you take away disagreement, you take away, you know, human ingenuity. You know, like answers rise up from questions. You know, there needs to be some sort of discourse in the world and stuff, and, you know, any type of lack thereof of darkness, of discord and stuff can just lead to, like, very big issues if any type of monkey wrench were to be thrown into that, and it could fall apart, and then, you know, oh, the knowledge of darkness was lost back in the day. So I feel that, you know, darkness and light can truly learn to coexist, but, you know, people on either side really don't get the picture. And how awesome would it be to have a Kingdom Hearts character that truly believes in that and doesn't fucking give up halfway through like Riku and Xehanort did, right? You know, like, someone who really tries to, like, listen, we can all coexist. We don't need to kill each other. And then, you know, the Guardians are like, no, down with the darkness is bad. And the Seekers of Darkness is like, you guys are afraid of knowledge, afraid of truth. And then, right? But then, boiling back to what's going on in Union Cross, because once again, if you guys didn't know, Union Cross is going towards the end. We are literally in the end game of Union Cross. It's not ending anytime soon, but this is the final arc. You know, I really don't believe that there's going to be another Disney World beyond this. Once the player character is done with Wreck-It Ralph, you know, we're going to go back to Daybreak Town, and then, oh, excuse me. We're going to go back to Daybreak Town, and then we're going to hanky-panky our way down to Break, and then Union Cross. Credits. And then that's what's going to go down. And Nomura apparently is super excited to tell this story, and I'm super excited to see where these characters go, because as we do know, we see Ephemer in Kingdom Hearts 3, Ventus is within that of Kingdom Hearts, Elrena is Larxene, Lauriam becomes Marluxia, and Skuld is heavily implied to be Subject X, right? The only person that's not really accounted for is our boy Brain, and I feel that once the break happens, once the end of Union Cross happens, Brain is going to be the only person left behind. And he's going to be left behind, and he's going to do his thing. He's going to, you know, create Skull-Eyed Kylum. He's going to create the schooling system. He's going to be the one with no name. He's going to be the one passing down the lineage of, you know, Keyblade wielders and stuff. Because I really do believe, because, I mean, like, look at it. They have a likeness. I really do believe that Brain is indeed the ancestor to Ericus. Because Xehanort does confirm in Dark Road and in Kingdom Hearts 3 through secret reports that what's his face, Ericus is a blue blood, and that he's a Keyblade wielder descended from a long line of Keyblade wielders, especially when it comes to the, you know, leaders known in the age of fairy tales, the Union leaders. And then you look at Brain, you look at Ericus. I mean, like, come on, right? So Brain is like the only one unaccounted for, and I feel there's obvious reasons, because he stays behind, grows old, dies, leaves behind a bloodline that eventually leads to Ericus. But then we see, you know, Lauriam running around as Marluxia, Larxene, Elrena running around as Larxene. We see Ventus, Ephemer, even though, like, we don't really understand what's wrong with Ephemer, because, you know, Sora did just connect with Ephemer in order to use the Union Cross attack against the giant, heartless Badoom, right? And we it's heavily implied that Subject X is Skuld. So everyone's accounted for, but Brain. And I feel that, you know, Brain's just gonna be left behind, and yeah. Oh, stay hydrated, my friends. So at one point towards the end of Union Cross, we're gonna experience the break, right? And the break is something that the Kingdom Hearts fans, Kingdom Hearts community has come to, you know, affectionately call the upcoming doom and gloom that's set to befall Daybreak Town, right? Because if you go around in Skull-Eyed Kylum, which was added in Kingdom Hearts Rewind, it's funny because Kingdom Hearts Rewind actually lays down a lot of hints, groundworks for stuff that I feel that we're going to see in Union Cross and in Dark Road, right? And even in base Kingdom Hearts, because, you know, in base Kingdom Hearts 3, we saw that Skull-Eyed Kylum is truly built on the reverse ruins of a flooded Daybreak Town, which was like, when I saw that when I was fighting Xehanort, I'm like, oh, mom, pick me up, I'm scared. You know, I saw that and I'm like, huh, alright, y'all went there, okay, alright. So that's one thing. And then Kingdom Hearts Rewind, when you play in Skull-Eyed Kylum, there's this like little mural thing where you have to find one of the Kairi chunks that's hidden in it, where it shows Daybreak Town. And I'm like, hey, Daybreak Town, alright, yeah, I remember you. But as you tinker with the contraption, Daybreak Town, the sky behind Daybreak Town gets really red, and you see all the buildings crumple down, and then Daybreak Town, the words Daybreak Town breaks apart, and all we see is break. And I'm like, oh nah, right? And then that's why we Kingdom Hearts fans call it the break, right? Because the break of Daybreak Town, because Daybreak Town literally breaks, right? So then something happens, something big, something red, something bad happens to Daybreak Town, and then that is what leads to Skull-Eyed Kylum, because hilariously enough, when you finish the contraption, Daybreak Town turns upside down and reveals itself as Skull-Eyed Kylum now. And then, like, everything's happy, everything's okay. I'm like, everything is not okay. We're probably sitting on the... this is a burial site for how many... I mean, to be fair, they all died in the Keyblade graveyard. But, I mean, like, there's still people living in Daybreak Town, and they're probably all dead and whatnot. So, Kingdom Hearts, Disney, rated E for everyone. Yeah. So that's basically the long and short of the break, right? And then probably the ending of Union Cross is gonna, it's gonna be the break, and then we're gonna see how these Union leaders, everyone except for Brian, we're gonna see how they survive. They're probably gonna survive through the arc, because Maleficent was able to do it a-okay, hanky-panky, whatnot. But they're probably all going to survive through the arc system. But all of them are going to suffer, like everyone except Ephemer, because Ephemer is an enigma. Ephemer is a he's a wrench in the system. He's an anomaly, right? So we're not counting Ephemer for now, right? But when it comes to Elrena, Skuld, Ventus, and Lauriam, if they get jetted to, where we are now with Kingdom Hearts through the arc, it comes at the very, very steep price of their memories, right? Ventus doesn't remember what happened during the time of Union Cross. Lauriam didn't remember what happened in the time of Union Cross, but he starts to remember at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. He starts to remember. To our knowledge, Larxene probably doesn't remember what happened to that, and then Marluxia is probably going to have to give her the skinny, and then, they're probably going to remember it together. And then Skuld, if Skuld is Subject X, from what we see with the Subject X, with the what do you call them? The data, the secret reports, goddamn! The secret reports, she doesn't remember what went down, she only has hints and pieces or whatever. So, it's going to come to the cost of their memories. But either way, when it comes to all of them, all of them do have a bone to pick when it comes to the overall, story, what they went through in Union Cross to how they are now in Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts Phase 2, beyond that of Kingdom Hearts 2020. But when it comes to all of them, I feel the biggest bone to pick is indeed Lauriam, Marluxia, right? His sister Strelitzia went missing. For the longest, he didn't know what happened to her, and now he's finally coming to terms with the fact that she got deaded. She got murked. She got erased. She got poofed. She got killed. She got murdered. She got slain. She got struck down. She got the old razzle-dazzle. She got the old darkness to the chest. So, that's the issue, right? Lauriam still has a lot of unfinished business when it comes to his sister, when it comes to what kind of possible relationship that he has with Ventus, exploring the relationship that he had with Elrena, that he probably goes on to have with Elrena and whatnot. And I feel that that's going to be a very interesting, tantalizing thing to explore within the future of Kingdom Hearts. And, Nomura did say that, when it comes to the announcements moving forward beyond that of Melody of Memory, that we should look forward to some very surprising announcements, whatnot. And then it's funny how he uses the word surprising and laughs, and it's just like, Nomura is very quiet but very powerful. As Kingdom Hearts gets wilder and wilder, he grows stronger, right? So with that whole, possibility of a surprising thing, everyone, look at me, chat. Look at all of us. We have to look inside ourselves. All right, look at us. We for the past 2 years, we've all been like Rex, Yazora, Shabuya. Let's go. Nacht Flugel, Secrets of the Night, Nightwing, Wings of the Night, versus 13. We've been saying that for 2 years. So, with that being considered, I don't think that's gonna be a surprise. If Nomura's all like, hey guys, Venom Rex! That's not gonna be a surprise. Not really gonna be a surprise. We're gonna be hyped. We're gonna be hyped as fuck. We're gonna be like, yo, Venom Rex, Yuzora, let's go. But it's not gonna be a surprise. Because we've been asking for it. We've been wanting it. We've been wondering. We've been sniffing it out. We've been theorizing. We've been trying to get together. But it's not gonna be a surprise. It's not gonna be a surprise. Alright? But a Lauriam Marluxia game where you play as Lauriam, Keyblade, Scythe. Would that not be a surprise? wouldn't that be a grand surprise? Wouldn't that be an awesome surprise? That, like, the inner machinations of Nomura's mind are an enigma. All right, we don't know what's going down. We don't know what's going down with Nomura. You know, I wanna assume that Varamrex is the next game after Melody of Memory, which is coming out in November. You know, I'm so glad we're getting the next Kingdom Hearts game so quickly after that remind. But we don't know what's going down. He says surprising. We don't know what he means by surprising. Trust me, I want Yozora Varamrex ASAP. Right? But my gut and the wheels of the fifth dimension within my mind is telling me that Lauriam, you know, could be a key player. Get it? I feel that he's going to be a key player moving on into Kingdom Hearts. You know, and I feel that's going to be a very surprising blindside thing to happen. You know, because Kingdom Hearts has a ton of characters to choose from when it comes to playable characters and stuff. And we play through a bunch of them under the Tuscan Sun. We play as Sora, Riku, Kairi, Roxas Terra Ventus. Roxas Terra Ventus. Ventus Terra Aqua, Roxas, Xion. If you want to count Axel, 358 days, and Axel counts and whatnot. And, you know, we've played a bunch of characters so far. So, you know, I'm playing a Kingdom Hearts game with someone new that we haven't played before. But we play as Marluxia in 358 days. You know what I mean. You know what I mean, like, with a Keyblade. We have yet to play with Axel with a Keyblade. Oh, but you get to... No. You get to control him in Kingdom Hearts Remind during the Guardians vs. Seekers fight. No. So, excuse me. A playable Marluxia moving forward when it comes to the Kingdom Hearts games, I feel would be a very huge surprise. You know, and because I really feel, even by the end of Union Cross, of what's going down, even what we saw with Strelitzia trying to communicate with that of Lauriam, Marluxia, whatever the fuck, I feel that's only just a setup, and I feel that like finality of Lauriam and Strelitzia, that whole arc, that whole, you know, decisiveness of what's gonna go down with, you know, Lauriam finally coming to terms with what happened to his sister. I feel that that's not truly going to be resolved by the end of Union Cross, and it's going to be a very strong narrative point moving forward when it comes to Kingdom Hearts in general to Phase 2. And let me tell you why. It really dials back to the whole advent of darkness, right? I really feel that Nomura and pals are setting up cognitive darkness, the darkness that was within Ventus, the darkness that helped Maleficent, the darkness that we see in Dark Road, Vanitas, all that good jazz. I really feel that they're setting that up to be the next big bad, right? And a lot of people, you know, they say, you know, of course, the chess match between Sora and that of the foretellers, Luxu, Master of Masters. Oh, they're the new bad guys. They all want the same thing, kind of, you know. So I don't think that they are truly the next big bad. They're definitely gonna be in the way, but I don't think they're gonna be the next big bad. And then we have to talk about Yozora, because Yozora is like there. You know, Yozora kind of supersedes all of that. But I really do believe the next big bad is being set up to be the cognitive darkness that can think, act, move around, and, you know, Marvel Secret Wars. You know, everyone's a Skrull. You know, long and short, kind of like that, right? So with that being said, a huge catalyst to all of that is the darkness killing Strelitzia, and Strelitzia is connected to who? Lauriam, being the little sister and stuff. And then Lauriam, Strelitzia, the darkness kills Strelitzia to enact a plan for possible survival that we've seen to this day in Kingdom Hearts. I feel that is literally all just a fucking, you know, stack of breadcrumbs moving forward on who the true enemy is. And then that's probably going to end up in a realization that will get Master of Masters and Sora and Pals to work together on, hey, it's like, listen, I'm not the true enemy. The true enemy is the darkness. And the darkness has been playing this game since I was a kid. And I was a kid like 1,000,000 years ago. So, you know, this is what's going to go down and whatnot. And I really feel that the darkness is that big bad. Now, let's talk about the little domino effect from Union Cross that spills into what we know of with Kingdom Hearts 3 at the end of base and in Remind, right? And there is one character in mind that you guys should be looking into everything retroactively, and that is our boy Luxu. Xigbar. Reg. So, Luxu was obviously the Master of Masters' biggest confidant, right? He told him, like we've seen in cutscene, that the Master explained to him the concept of the darkness, that it looks like you and me, humans, that we've been fighting light and darkness since I was a kid. We have to, we have to tear everything down. We have to do this. Luxu knew all that. Luxu knew all that all the way to his time as Break, right? Kept body hopping, and now he's Break, and now he's all that stuff. So, considering that, ladies and gentlemen, let me poke your brain a little bit. Considering that, ladies and gentlemen, is that Luxu knew about this, the plan, the darkness, all that stuff. And now, if we're truly going to understand that Vanitas was the darkness that we see in Union Cross from Ventus, if we've come to know that, in Kingdom Hearts 3, Luxu, as Xigbar, probably detected that when he saw Vanitas as another member of the true Organization 13. And that is probably what led him to like, okay, it's time. Think about that. They were on the same team. But technically, Luxu is on our side when it comes to, like, the whole grand master plan of eliminating the darkness. But he literally had to team up with one of the darknesses that led to all of the hanky-panky bullshit back in Union Cross. He was there. And I'm pretty sure that Luxu recognized Vanitas as such. And he's like, okay, alright, it's going down. And that's probably why he's like, alright, I need to, alright, like, that's probably his biggest his biggest take, where he's like, okay, I need to find the box now. I need to get the box back now. But I can't let anyone know that I'm attached to the box. So what I'm probably gonna do, and this is probably what he had in mind, right? Because he knew the walls have ears. He knew the walls have eyes and whatnot. He was like, okay, I need to make sure that Vanitas doesn't know that I'm Luxu. I need to make sure that Vanitas knows that I'm not from the time that Ventus was rolling around when Union Cross. I need to make sure he knows that it's not me. But I need to find this box, because now the enemy is way too close, right? So he's like, alright, what do I do? Got it. Let's take the most hanky-panky bullshit member of the organization and have him look for the box, and maybe, just maybe, that'll get Vanitas off my tail. Maybe that'll get Vanitas off my trail. So it's like, alright, who's the most... Alright, it's Luxor. No one cares about Luxor. Luxor does nothing. Who's Luxor? Luxor, lame. Like, Luxor doesn't even do anything. He's like on the bottom peg. He always complains. He doesn't do nothing. He's playing with his cards. He could use a mission. Alright, Luxor. Alright, Luxor's gonna be the guinea pig. He's going to be, the patsy. That's what Xigbar was talking about. So he's like, alright, hey, Luxor, listen, I'm gonna need you to find this box, alright? It's this black box. It got secrets and stuff. Xemnas told me to tell you. Xehanort told me to tell you. Whatever. Go look for this box. He sends Luxord on a wild goose chase because he knows where the box is, but he can't let Vanitas know that he knows where the box is, and he can't let Vanitas possibly follow him, tail him to the box. So he's like, alright, I'm gonna send Luxor to find the box, and possibly Vanitas will just follow his ass. That's probably what went down. But then, Luxor's all like, so this box, you say? And then Xigbar was like, what the fuck? And then they had the conversation Remind, and then Luxu's like, bro, what is going on? Who are you? Who are you, Luxord? Because, he honestly, like, I'm pretty sure that Xigbar Luxu he got caught with his pants down. He thought he could just, you know, rub to Luxor and it'll be fine. Because, like, he had that mentality. Who's Luxor? Man, organization member number 10? Like, why did Xehanort bring him back? Like, this guy's lame. Like, he's weak, controls time, you know, time my ass, whatever, man. Fuck this dude, right? He's like, alright, yeah, you do it. Do boy, get to stepping, right? But then Luxor rolls up and he's like, hey, man. And then Luxu's like, fuck. Right? That's probably what happened. You know? So, with that being considered, that probably opened up a whole can of worms that caught Luxu with his pants down. But luckily, he was able to see the Keyblade war through. Vanitas died, and then it's like, okay, alright, cool. Alright, Xehanort's down, the darkness is down. Alright, cool. I can go find this box safely now, right? But then, another thing that caught him with his pants down was that although he was keeping tabs on Maleficent and Pete and Maleficent were still keeping tabs on him. And they saw that he was able to get the box, and then they put, you know, 2 and 2 together, and just like, bro, this entire can of worms. So I feel that Luxu, the foretellers, even Master, like at the end of the day, you know, they're died. That's why I use quotation marks, died. Right at the end of the day, Luxu, the foretellers, and the Masters are on the side of good. They're on our side at the end of the day. But, you know, they're rolling to the beat of their own drum. They're rolling to their own machinations and whatnot. And Sora does put a monkey wrench in it a little bit. But I feel that they can use Sora to their advantage in order to try to eliminate the darkness. Because that is the end-all, be-all plan for the Master of Masters. And I truly do believe that Vanitas being there just rattled Xigbar. You know, because, like, when Xigbar was part of the original organization... Organization 13, you know, Xemnas, Zaldin, everyone there, they were fine. He was moving. That's why he was like probably so, you know, as we all know, Xigbar keeps his ears to the ground. He likes to spy on everyone, but for the most part, he's pretty laid back. He's like, you know, he's like a stoner surfer dude. He's like, yo, bruh, yo, I'm going back to my room. Yo, I'm moving. Yo, don't bother me, man. Like, he's cool. He's cool. So in the original organization, he was vibing. But in the new organization, he sees Vanitas and he's like, I gotta make sure nothing fucks up. Like, because Vanitas was the no-no button or whatnot. But that's wild. You know, that's wild. With all things considered, you know, Vanitas, I'm pretty much, I'm like 1,000% sure we have not seen the last of Vanitas, because Vanitas will always exist within Ventus. I think, you know, I'm pretty sure we haven't seen the last of Vanitas. And you know, as long as Sora is in Kingdom Hearts, Haley Joel Osment, Vanitas is just a voice change away. And he's like, all right, Haley Joel Osment, we need Vanitas back. All right, so you're Sora and Vanitas again. And whatnot. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna see Vanitas in the future, and you know, it could be possible that Vanitas could be ending up to be the true big bad. And I'm like, dang, Sora versus Dark Sora and whatnot, or just, you know, like Vanitas will be part of all of the darkness that will come together and whatnot, and be the main true bad guys within the next phase of Kingdom Hearts and stuff and whatnot. But man. Sorry, I was just tinkering with that. But case in point, Marluxia, Vanitas, I really don't think we're gonna see the end of them. Now, when it comes to Strelitzia, you know, the way she went out, she's dead. She's dead. Flow with me for a second. Strelitzia is dead. She's dead, right? She's dead, right? But we've seen a dead character come back. We've seen the dead character come back. You know, when a character usually dies in Kingdom Hearts, they usually stay dead, like Ericus, Xehanort. You know, they usually stay dead. But we've seen a dead character come back, right? And the character I'm referring to is Kairi. Kairi straight up got murdered, right? However, Sora was able to reset the hands of fate, to turn the clock, and use the power of waking to bring her back. Now, flow with me for a second, alright? Ventus felt so guilty that he was responsible for Strelitzia's death. Now, here's another thing on the other side of the coin, alright? Isn't it odd that Ventus knew about the power of waking? Ventus knew about the power of waking when he talked to Sora, when Sora finally used the power of waking to restore Ventus. He knew about it. And apparently, according to Yen Sid, it was a new type of power. And only Yen Sid, Riku, Mickey, and Sora truly were supposed to be the ones to know about the power of waking, right? Yet Ventus knew about the power of waking. And you know who else knew about the power of waking beyond that? Ventus's Chirithy. And what happens when you abuse the power of waking or use it incorrectly? You wind up in the final world. What if Ventus felt so guilty about killing Strelitzia that he actually attempted to use the power of waking to bring her back, but he couldn't do it correctly and he fucked up? But instead of paying the price of the power of waking, someone took his place and paid the price for him. His Chirithy. And that's why Ventus's Chirithy specifically is in the final world. Or I should say was in the final world. Now, the reason why Chirithy will be able to take Ventus's place is because Chirithys in Union Cross, as we've seen, are basically kind of tied to their owner's life force and their hearts. As we saw, when Strelitzia died, her Chirithy went with her, you know? And if Ventus was going to be on the chopping block to pay the price of the power of waking, then the Chirithy probably was like, oh no, take me instead. Because we're kind of like, you know, we're bound together. So, like, instead of taking Ventus, the Chirithy could take its spot because they're, you know, they have like a lifelink type deal. So, that's probably why Chirithy knew about the power of waking, Ventus knew about the power of waking, Chirithy was in the final world, Ventus felt bad, felt guilty about killing Strelitzia. He tried to use the power of waking to bring her back, it didn't work, he had to pay the price, Chirithy paid the price instead. And that's probably why Chirithy knew about the price! That's why Chirithy knew about the price, because Chirithy paid the price. Chirithy paid the price itself. It knew about the price. We get into Wild Boy hours. Oh my lord. Gonna tweet that out right now. Ventus and oh my god. Give me a second, guys. that I think it's pretty much why did Ventus lose memories? I'm pretty sure Ventus and the rest of the gang lost their memories when they went through the arc. So I think that's what happened when they lost their memories. And you know, it worked out for the better because man, that like imagine Ventus remembering something like that, man. And tweeted. So, like that's the power of the fifth dimension, ladies and gentlemen. Every time we stream the fifth dimension, we always go into the wild boy theory hours, and we always come up with some crop of the land. Oh my lord, man! I'm not particularly saying that Chirithy sealed Ventus's memory. It could be a possibility that Ventus that Chirithy sealed Ventus's memory in order for him to be happier, going forward. It's a possibility, but then that wouldn't really explain why the others lost their memories. I feel that it was like an all-encompassing thing. The same thing that allowed Ventus to lose his memory was the same thing that allowed Larxene, Marluxia, and Skull to lose their memories. And I think that's the arc jump and whatnot. And then moving forward with that is that I really don't think that Ventus really remembers Chirithy all the way. And possibly, maybe Chirithy has the power to restore his memories. I don't remember that. But I mean, it was obvious that Chirithy was like looking at Ventus, and I think Ventus was just being friendly, right? There was no further context to the scene where Ventus and Chirithy reunite, but besides the fact that Ventus welcomed Chirithy with open arms. It's not really clear that Ventus remembered Chirithy and whatnot. And it's funny how, it's so funny how Ventus reunited with Chirithy, and it was heartwarming, and it was so nice, and like Chirithy was crying tears of joy and whatnot. Yeah, Chirithy wasn't at the fucking beach party. And I'm like, bro, you reunited with your best pal, and you're just gonna make it go to the wind like Chirithy's always do. Why'd you throw it a frisbee? Like, come on, it could have been helping Donald making sandcastles and whatnot, but like Chirithy wasn't actually at the beach party. And I'm like, why not though? Like, what the fuck? Like, everyone is here. Isa was there. Shit. Like, oh my goodness. Man. We actually haven't seen Lauriam's. We haven't seen everyone's Chirithy besides that of. We saw Ventus' Chirithy. We saw Brain's Chirithy. And I'm pretty sure that Skull and. We've seen Larxene's Chirithy. So, Elrena's Chirithy. We haven't really seen Brain. I mean, like, they have Chirithys. Obviously, of course, they have to have Chirithys. Right? But I mean, I like to see more and more Chirithys because after seeing, like, Brain's custom Chirithy. In Union Cross, I'm like, that's adorable. And, like, it has its own hat and like, like specific bag and whatnot. Brain's Chirithy had that drip. It really did. But that's something I like to see moving forward and whatnot. But overall, I feel that we're gonna get really, really, and I mean extremely dark when it comes to Union Cross, the end, the break. It's funny how the break is so mysterious, and it's probably gonna, truly spell the end and doom of Daybreak Town. It's like, yo, we gotta get out of here now, right? The break is gonna start. It's gonna be going down. Everything's gonna be crumbling, and the Union leaders, they're gonna be like, yo, we gotta get out of here. And then Lauriam's like, yo, this weird green lady was able to use this arc Maybe we can use that to bounce. You know, everyone bounces, but then, you know, Brain's like, nah, I gotta stay behind, man. And then that's probably what's gonna go down. And they're like, Brain, no. It's like, later, homies, and like he tips his hat and just like presses the button, just like sends them off into the future or whatnot. But Brain is probably gonna survive the break, build Skull Kylum, but it's gonna be wild. And how messed up would it be if it was one specific member of the Union Leaders that leads to the break? I mean, it could be possible that darkness leads to the break, you know, because remember, what Brain is trying to do is that he's trying to rewrite the program of, you know, what's going down with Union Cross, what's going down with Daybreak Town. He's trying to rewrite the program, be a virus into the system in order to create a time where a war would not happen, where the Keyblade War won't restart, where we will go down the same path that we've done before, right? And the Darkness doesn't really want that. So the Darkness is probably going to be responsible for the break in order to try and tear down everything that Brain is trying to build up, everything that Brain was working on. You know, the Darkness is just going to step on in and just like break everything. It was like, no, I can't let this, you know, I'm just going to burn everything to the ground, just reset it myself, I don't care, right? That's what the Darkness is probably going to do, and then Brain's going to survive through that, and it's like, okay, I couldn't do that, I lost all my memory and whatnot, so I'm just going to just build Skull Kylum moving forward and whatnot. That's probably what's going to go down, but I really want to see how Darkness gets to Ventus, how Ventus moves forward to the future, and how Vanitas, you know, Vanitas gets out of darkness, because I really do believe that Ventus's specific darkness is Vanitas, because, you know, the darkness comes out and says, oh, you realize that we exist, and then that begs the question, that brings the theory, that brings the speculation, if the darkness that helped Maleficent is the same darkness that is within Ventus, right? You know, it really boils down to like, oh, the possibility of hive mind, the possibility of how many darknesses are truly running around, and like even if the darkness the darkness that helped Maleficent is not the same as Ventus's darkness, does it need a host? It doesn't have a form, but it can still present itself as, you know, something smart or whatnot. But I really think I really think it could be two specific darknesses, and then that's why Ventus's darkness, like, oh, you realize that we exist. You've come to know that we exist. Yes, we are darkness. We are plenty. You are but one. Type shit. You know. And you know, the whole funny thing about the arc, like that whole arc thing is so hilarious, because we've seen the arc since Kingdom Hearts 1. And here we are, Nomura Unleashed, and we have the arc once again in Union Cross, and we're gonna get the arc again in Melody of Memory, as we've seen that Apprentice Xehanort. Yeah, he becomes Ansem, he, like, I am Ansem, you know, whatever. But Apprentice Xehanort uses the arc on Kairi. Now, here is the thing, right? The arc as we know it, the original arc as we know it, is located in Daybreak Town, and more than likely in Skull Kylum as well, if they're going to use the same thing, right? The arc that we see in Hollow Bastion End of the World, because we originally see the arc in the Hollow Bastion section of the End of the World, right? And the arc that we see in Melody of Memory is more than likely in Radiant Garden, and where, you know, Apprentice Xehanort does his most hanky-panky experiments and whatnot. It's there, right? So that has to mean it's a recreation. Where exactly did he get the schematics, the blueprints, the knowledge, the idea to build a machine like this? Unless there was someone feeding him information, right? And then that's how we come to the potential backstory of a man called Braig, right? Because as we all know, Braig, before Xehanort rolled around to Radiant Garden, Braig existed in Radiant Garden, and at this point, Braig was already Luxu. You know, Luxu's always Luxu. You know, like, it's not, like, a lot of people get the idea that, oh, when did Luxu become Xigbar? And I'm like, no, Braig, as we've always known him since Birth by Sleep, has always been Luxu. You know, that personality, that everything has plans, blah, blah, blah. So, it could be possible that, you know, Braig is one of the apprentices of Ansem the Wise, and they are off looking for answers in science that will benefit the people of the light and Radiant Garden, right? And even though Braig had like the soldier's gear, he was still a scientific apprentice to Ansem the Wise, along with Dylan, along with Alias, along with Ienzo, and along with Evan. You know, some of them were lab coats, some of them were like, you know, soldier gear, but they were all apprentices. They said this multiple times throughout the, throughout the secret reports and whatnot. They are apprentices, scientific-wise. It's just some are better at fighting than others, and then some of them, you know, I guess, you know, guards the shift. Is like, okay, this guy, you know, you guard the castle, but we'll call you down if we need your help for experiments, blah, 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 blah. It could be possible that Braig, being Luxu, being from Union Cross, he's the one who rolled up to Ansem the Wise and is like, hey, man, bro, I got this awesome idea for this machine, right? Let me build it and show you, right? And then Ansem's like, machine, science, benefits to mankind. All right, show me what's up. And then Braig uses his knowledge as Luxu because he was there. He was there when all of it was there. You know, all the machinery, all the stuff. And he, you know, it could be possible Luxu actually built that thing himself, right? So he rolls up to Radiant Garden and is like, you know, Bob the Builder, can we build it? And he builds the machine in Radiant Garden to impress Ansem the Wise in order to infiltrate the Radiant Garden. And then Ansem's like, bro, this machine, dude, yo, you want to be my apprentice? I'm pretty sure I can help mold that scientific curiosity you have. And then Braig's like, all right, yeah, okay, man, yeah. Mission complete. That's probably what went down. That's literally probably what went down. So, he knew that, damn! That's probably how fucking big brain Xigbar is. Because, we know that he's been keeping his eye on the Keyblade, right? He's been keeping his eye on the Keyblade for so long, and whatnot, and he was probably there at Scott Kylum when the Keyblade, like his Keyblade the Nun was there and stuff. So he probably encountered young Xehanort at one point, but he kept his distance, right? So he's like, okay, maybe he could be the one, maybe not. But he still kept his distance, kind of, sort of, maybe not really, right? So then he knew that if he rolled around with Ansem the Wise, if he became an apprentice to Ansem the Wise, maybe rolling around with someone who loves science, who loves messing around with Hearts of Worlds, with light, with the possibility of the Keyblade or whatnot, Hearts of Worlds, deal with the Heartless, blah, blah, blah. You know, Ansem, he delved in all of that. So maybe if he got close to this dude, someone will roll up with the intention of, you know, being the guy he needs in order to initiate the Keyblade War, right? Because he's not going to do it himself, but he needs to wait for the dude, because that's what he said in the secret reports, right? So that's probably how big brain Xigbar was. He rolled up with Ansem, and he's like, okay, I'm here with Mr. Science Man. He deals with hearts and stuff. All I have to do is just vibe. I was able to get in. I built him in the machine. All I have to do is just vibe. And one of these motherfuckers are going to roll up. And then they're going to be the one to, like, you know. And then, yeah. So I'm just going to. I'm chilling. Right? He's chilling. And then he sees that Xehanort has the no name, right? And he's like, so that's the dude who has my. That's the dude who has my Keyblade. Alright, whatever. I'm gonna keep my eye on him. Maybe he's the one, maybe not. I don't know. Whatever. And then Xehanort rolls up to Radiant Garden. And then they meet. They strike a deal. And it's like, alright, yeah, he's the one. Yep, alright. It's go time. Alright, finally. Jesus, that's been like 10,000 years. That's probably what went down. Like, holy shit. Man. Xigbar is a man of patience. I believe that he literally, I believe he plants himself in the best possible area situations that will help draw out the person that he needs, right? And then I played around with this idea, a kindred spirit with Luxor. And I feel that these two motherfuckers have all the time in the world, for different reasons, to draw out the person that they need. And that is the duality, yo! Can we talk about that yin and yang? Wait for it. I think that's the duality of it, right? So then, let's look at all the things, right? I am playing around with the notion that Xigbar planted himself in a situation, in a formation with people that will help him get close to someone that will initiate the Keyblade War, aka the bad guy. Xigbar, Braig, Luxu did what he did. He planned himself in order to come into contact with the bad. He knew if like he rolled up with certain people, the bad guy will show up and then he'll help him, right? Luxord, like I've theorized before, being someone that serves Yuzora, that needs to find someone like Sora, Luxor knew if he planted himself, rolled around with the baddest of the bad, the Organization 13, he knew if he rolled around with that crew, then a hero capable of saving the worlds and saving his problem will roll up, and then he will just test them, and then he's like, alright, let me help this dude. So Xigbar planted himself within good people to draw out the bad guy. Luxord planted himself with bad guys to draw out the good guy. And then their elements, time and space. Space and time. Those are two elements within mathematics and, you know, theoretical physics that always go hand in hand when it comes to the general relativity and reality of how existence is measured, right? Time and space. And then, picture this. A black goat stashes away a letter and then asks a white goat to search for it. Duality. Man, it's their yin and yang. It's like it's duality. Like you guys are saying, Luxu versus Luxor, the battle of the big brains. You know, they're both extremely smart people. Right? They're both like stupid smart people. They're extremely smart and gentlemen, whatnot. And man, that's the wave. That's why I think it's going down with these two, man. They not liking this. They really going downtown. Give me 1 second. Sorry, that was a little bit of business. That was urgent business. Yeah. But honestly, Kingdom Hearts, all of this what I'm saying on this stream when it comes to Kingdom Hearts' future, Kingdom Hearts 2020, Union Cross, Dark Road, all that good jazz, Vam Rex, Yuzora. You know, I feel all of the stuff that's going down, all the stuff that we're playing around, all this 5D chess, all of this Nomura laughing, growing stronger with every Kingdom Hearts game he decides to put out and whatnot. I really do feel that this wild boy shit is what Kingdom Hearts needs for Phase 2, right? Kingdom Hearts has really come to grow a type of identity within Phase 1, at least, within the Dark Seeker saga, the Xehanort saga, and whatnot. And in order to keep the series going and not become stale, they need to explore new ideas, more wild boy shit, more, you know, like more identities within itself in order to move forward to set itself apart from Phase 1 to Phase 2, right? And I feel like this type of stuff that we're talking about, and definitely the stuff that we're seeing, like, goes on for that. Like, come on, like Union Cross, Dark Road, the Dark Road story with Xehanort so far. You know, the fact that Phase 2 starts with Sora being gone. This is the Sora recovery arc. We have to get Sora back. You know, Phase 2 of Kingdom Hearts started with Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, right? You know, Kingdom Hearts 3 ended with Sora going poof, gone. Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind showed us how Sora went poof, gone, right? And that he's still poof, gone, right? Dark Road is going into some really wild boy stuff when it comes to the darkness, Xehanort's backstory, the cognitive darkness, and whatnot. That could really explain a lot of stuff, especially with Skull-Eyed Kylan, right? And then we're going into the next game, Melody and Memory. The next step into try and get Sora back. We're gonna bring you home. No, we're not. Sora's gone forever, guys. Say goodbye. It's been real. And then the whole thing that we see with Yozora, I'm like, a Yozora game, a Yozora game, a Yozora game. You know what's one thing that I really want them to explore? And they've been exploring it subtly in Dark Road, so I feel that it's a safe bet to even talk about or think about, is that I really want them to explore, rephrase, they've been exploring this since Birth by Sleep, right? I want them to explore the whole concept of light not being the end-all be-all good. That just because you serve the light, just because you're an ally of light, doesn't make you good, doesn't make you just. Like, you know, people can use the light and still be clouded, blinded by the light. I want them to explore that concept. You know, I want them to help question us and ask the real wild questions when it comes to the morality of light and darkness, good and evil, and the notion of the Keyblade, right? And then one thing that I want them to explore, especially since we're seeing this from Union Cross and Dark Road, and this is a very important thing, ladies and gentlemen, right? And this is just something that I feel needs to be addressed, right? And it's something that is breathed out of Union Cross, and I feel should be breathed into Kingdom Hearts going forward, especially when it comes to the characters that we see in Union Cross: Riku, Kairi, Sora, everyone. And that is the fact. This is the fact of the matter, people, and we need to explore this concept, all right? When you become a Keyblade wielder, you can never have a normal life again, right? You will always be a target, and that is the most tragic thing. And it's so funny how all these people are like, oh yeah, Keyblade, yeah, my friends are my power, wow, yeah, the power of the Keyblade, alright, Keyblade, yeah, awesome, Keyblade. But there are so many consequences in being chosen and having this weapon, right? By being selected by the Keyblade, you are literally, you literally have death crawling on your back every second, you know? Everyone who's died in the Keyblade War, all those, the Keyblade Graveyard, the Death of Strelitzia, right? She thought she was doing good. She thought, oh, I just have to collect Lux. I have to hang out with my Union friends. I want to talk to these people. I have to become I want to see if I become a dandelion. You know, everything is, you know, pretty schmoving. Deaded. Because she had a Keyblade. Right? And then that boils down into the idea if Kairi would have died if she had a Keyblade or not. I feel that she died because she was at the wrong place at the wrong time. She was there. She was part of the Keyblade War because she had a Keyblade. And she ended up dying because she had a Keyblade. And then Sora ended up getting regulated to the final world by saving Kairi because he had a Keyblade. Right? And then that could actually explain Yozora's patch. That can actually explain Yozora's patch. Oh my god. You know, Yozora's patch, I mean, it shows Sora, but it shows a skull and crossbones. But for the skull, it's a Sora skull, but it's still a skull. A skull, but the crossbones are Keyblades. Which means if you have a Keyblade, you're constantly marked for death. Like, even if you don't want to fight anymore, even if you don't like Rox is like, what's going on? Throws away the Keyblade. You still have a Keyblade, right? You know, even if you don't want to fight anymore, even if you don't want to carry on the legacy of the Keyblade anymore, you still have the Keyblade. And as we've learned from the first Kingdom Hearts game, as long as you have the Keyblade, the Heartless will always come after you. Because the Heartless act as a homing beacon for, like, the Keyblade acts as a homing beacon for the Heartless. So even if you don't want to fight anymore, like, threats are still going to come your way. There's no going around it. The Heartless will still come after you. Man. That's really one of the horrifying conclusions that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. Especially the fact that a lot of Keyblade wielders that we see are children. You know? And you're like, oh yeah, I've been chosen by the Keyblade because I have a strong heart. Xehanort, the most powerful Keyblade master of all time, was able to reach an old age because he became a Keyblade master. Yo, if you don't become a Keyblade master, if you don't become someone super powerful with the Keyblade, you're not going to have a long life expectancy. We've seen that with the Keyblade War. We've seen that with Kairi. And you know what else? We've seen that with Xehanort's friends. There were students. There were students. If we really go by the idea that Kid Xehanort was the same age as Sora, 15, max, whatever, and that 4 years later, when he was visiting their graveyard, their grave sites and whatnot, and if we're going to go by the notion that he was like 19, 20, which goes along with what Nomura says how old young Xehanort is within Dream Job distance, like he's 18 to 20, you know, if we're going to go by that, and 4 of his classmates already died? Like, bro, they died before 20 for being Keyblade wielders. Man, I just Kingdom Hearts has such a delicious layer of darkness attached to it that a lot of people really just don't give it the time of day because, like, ha ha ha, Mickey! Look, guys, Mickey! Look, Mickey Mouse. Oh my lord, it's Mickey! Oh man! And then they don't talk about the existential dread that children have to live with day in and day out for being chosen wielders of a weapon of extraordinary destruction. Man, that's some wild boy hours, right? And I really hope that Kingdom Hearts really does explore that concept. They kind of explored it a little bit with Roxas. You know, because Roxas, you know, like, he didn't really like the Heartless constantly coming after him when he was training with the organization. And even when he lost his memories when he was in the virtual Twilight Town, he's like, yo, I don't want this Keyblade. Yo, what's going on? He throws the Keyblade. They explored that ever so subtly, but that's something I really want to explore. It's like, you know, Keyblade wielders that don't want to be Keyblade wielders, you know? Or Keyblade wielders that get tired of being Keyblade wielders. You know, it's like, bro, get this thing away from me, bro. I don't want this. I don't want to do this no more. I really don't. You know, this sucks, right? So it's like, come on, this is a chance to make everyone happy. I'm like, yeah, everyone but me. We have to talk about that, about one's happiness. So it's all like, I can't give him the Keyblade. There's a chance to make everyone happy. Are you happy? No, I'm making everyone happy. No, Sora. The question is, are you happy? Man. Rated E. Rated E for everyone. Yeah. It's Sora's revenge. Sora's too dumb, sorry, too naive to ask him himself that. I feel, no, Sora has done a lot of maturing as of late, you know, especially going into Kingdom Hearts 3 and Kingdom Hearts Remind, especially going into 3 Remind. He's done a lot of maturing, you know, so I feel that things are going to get a bit existential for our boy, especially with him interacting with Yozora. I feel that things are going to get very existential very soon, you know. And that's something I would really love to explore, because Dark World is exploring that, Union Cross is exploring that and whatnot, and you know, Lauriam really got that straight to his face when, you know, when he had to deal with the death of his sister, you know, like, oh yeah, no, being a Keyblade wielder is easy. I finished this morning. I can do this. Man. And then, poof, your sister's gone. Goodbye. But about that white coat, though. we've always dealt with the organization Black Coat that protects you from the darkness. And if you guys didn't see the theory that I have about the White Coat, Strelitzia, and the White Coat, is that my pocket theory about this is that you know how the Dark Coat protects you from the darkness, right? The darkness obviously being an element, something that can you know, corrupt your heart, something that can, you know, hurt you, burn you, scar you, and whatnot. But the Black Coat can protect you from all that, right? And inversely, perhaps the White Coat is what protects you from that. It protects you from light, extreme amounts of light, right? But what kind of extreme amounts of light are we talking about? The light of Kingdom Hearts. Because where do all hearts go when you die? Of course, when you die without regrets. But then that really begs the question of where exactly is Strelitzia? Is Strelitzia in Kingdom Hearts? Is Strelitzia in the final world? We don't exactly know, because the way she died, she obviously died with regrets. You know, being separated from her brother, you know, not being able to talk to the player character. So maybe she's in the final world, maybe, or whatnot. But perhaps the White Coat, the way I theorize it, is the White Coat protects you from the harshest rays of light. You know, the amount of light, the amount of extreme light that Kingdom Hearts is able to produce, right? Because Kingdom Hearts is the source of all light, the source of all hearts, and has the power to reset the universe, right? The light of destruction, ha ha ha, right? So basically the light of destruction. And in order to come back to the world of the living, in order to communicate with your loved ones like Strelitzia did with Lauriam, I feel that hearts need to step through Kingdom Hearts in order to reach those that are still alive, right? And in order to step through without being obliterated, literally, entirely, there is no afterlife after this type of shit, is to wear the White Coat. And that's where I feel the White Coat is. You know, the White Coat is literally something that will allow you to, you know, travel through the extreme light of Kingdom Hearts to be able to communicate with your loved ones that are still among the world of the living. Because if you didn't have a White Coat and you try to walk through the Kingdom Hearts, walk through the lights of Kingdom Hearts, you're done. You don't go to heaven. There is no, you do not pass go. You do not collect $200. No, you're done. You're gone. You're off the fucking, you know, the chessboard. That type of shit. You know. So, honestly, that's what I think the realm of possibility when it comes to the White Coat, Strelitzia being able to communicate with Lauriam. But funny enough, Japan already has it, but worldwide, coming very soon in Union Cross Dark Road, in Union Cross of the Dark Road, of the Union Cross of Dark Road, whatnot, we're getting the Strelitzia medal very soon. And I want to know who here in the chat was able to get the illustrated medals from the Kingdom Hearts 3 box art. Who here was able to get a bunch of those medals in order to get a Strelitzia medal? So we're getting the Strelitzia medals really soon. The attack looks great, but the fact that we're getting like a new Strelitzia art medal from Tetsuya Nomura soon makes me really think that the next story update or story updates down the line is going to bring back Strelitzia in terms of communication from the afterlife, restoration possibly, or you know, flashbacks. So I feel Strelitzia is still going to have a very ample piece, a very ample spot in the story when it comes to moving forward with Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. And I would love to see Strelitzia in, you know, Kingdom Shader moving forward, Kingdom Hearts 3. Not Kingdom Hearts 3, but, you know, Kingdom Hearts Phase 2, Kingdom Hearts 2020, all that good jazz, and whatnot. But I'm really looking forward to that. I want to see all of these characters, ladies and gentlemen. We've already seen, like, Lauriam, like, in their nobody forms, of course. Lauriam, Luxine, Lauriam, Erlena, and Ephemer, right? We've already seen them in Kingdom Shader, right? And, of course, the Foretellers. I really want to see Skuld, bro, like, that, for me, that's number one. For me, that's number one. I would love to see Strelitzia in Kingdom Shader, but for me, number one is Skuld. I need to see Skuld in Kingdom Shader. Skuld. I love Skuld, right? I need to see Skuld in Kingdom Shader. Brain, I would love to see Brain in Kingdom Shader, but I need to see all those mofos in Kingdom Shader mode, bro. I think they would be so great. And then when it comes to voice actors and voice actresses, I still hold true for my girl Erica Harletcher to be the voice actress of Skuld. Join me in the fight, brothers and sisters. Give me that. Give me that now. Square Enix, Disney, do it. But when it comes to that idea, I would love to see, like, you know, a lot of people really want like some sort of Unicross anthology, some sort of Unicross Kingdom Shader type movie, kind of like how we got back cover, in order to help us get up to speed with the story, or like, you know, give us the all razzle dazzle and the rest of the story or whatnot. I would love it to see it regulated as a movie, but the thing is, like, that's the double-edged sword about this, because a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, get the information of what's going on with Unicross through content creators making videos like myself, right? And, you know, I would love for something to come out, like a series, maybe a manga. Like, Unicross is basically like moving manga at this point for me, which I feel is nice because, you know, Nomura always wanted to be a mangaka, and this is basically him unleashed. Like, this is his inner manga artist unleashed, allowed him to, like, you know, write some volumes and release it as it goes on, so, which is nice. You know, I like, you know, Nomura doing that type of spiel, but I would really like for, you know, like a good anthology, a good rundown of what is happening with Unicross once it ends, to get people up to speed, because we are getting some really substantial stuff, guys. Like some stupid substantial stuff. Like, there are some aspects within that of Kingdom Hearts 3 and Kingdom Hearts 3 Online that I feel that you really truly wouldn't understand unless you played Unicross, you know? And a lot of people don't play it, and I don't blame them for not playing it, because, you know, mobile game, gacha game, I don't blame y'all and whatnot. So I really hope that, you know, sometime in the future after Unicross is over, is that Kingdom Hearts team decides to put something together in order to get people up to speed, the long and short of the whole story, because it's a grand story, you know, it's a really long story, but they can, like, I feel they can, like, you know, surmise the entire plot of everything you really need to know of what went down. It's something that could probably be, like, you know, 3 hours worth of cutscene, or worth of movie, or worth of whatever, you know, honestly. Did you ever notice Patrica from Xenoblade 2 appearance-wise is a grown-up Skuld? Yeah! You know why? Because Nomura drew her. Nomura made that whole group in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Dun dun dun! Like... But yeah. Oh, man. And then, you know, moving forward with the Kingdom Hearts series, we actually got a new world with Unicross when it comes to Wreck-It Ralph, right? And I would really love to see more new worlds moving forward with Kingdom Hearts when it comes to Kingdom Hearts 2020. We're not going to get any new worlds in Melody of Memory, which is understandable, because it's like, it's a Melody of Memory. Yeah, it's just, you know, a trip down memory lane. Alright. Yeah. Right, but definitely after Melody of Memory, I'm like, bro, Disney, Square, you have no excuse to not give us any new Disney worlds. Unless it's Verum Rex. Because I'm going to say this right now. If Verum Rex takes place, if all Verum Rex takes place in Shibuya, or, you know, present day modern Japan, I'll be fine with it. I'll be fine with it. No Disney worlds, I'll be fine with it. Obviously, it's still going to be a Disney game, but it's possible for Disney to, you know, help make a game that their properties aren't in. You know, Verum Rex is probably most likely still going to be owned by Disney, because if Sora and Luxor are going to appear, they are Disney properties. So it'll still be Disney. You know, Luxor is very, very important to Yuzora. Sora is very important to Yuzora now and whatnot. And then Yuzora and Verum Rex, all that stuff, Godfly through Kingdom Hearts 3. So it'll be a Disney property or whatever, but it doesn't mean that we really don't need to get Disney worlds and whatnot. And, you know, we've had Disney-made games that don't have their properties. Spectrobes, right? Spectrobes is a game made by Disney that has no Disney properties whatsoever. And it's a great game. Bring Spectrobes back, you cowards. Bring it back. I love Spectrobes. Spectrobes is so good. Give it back. Give it back. Give it back. So, we can get Vamrex all in Shibuya or modern day in Japan without any Disney worlds, and I'll be down with that. Sora could be there. Playable Yozora, playable Sora, and then when you beat those two, you unlock playable Luxor. 3 stories. Yeah, going forward with Kingdom Hearts. I think I like that. Oh my god. Man. I'm just really excited to see where Kingdom Hearts is going to go into the future. And not because of what Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind has given us, because Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind has given us a lot. It has given us a lot of really good shit, right? I would like to see where it goes from here in terms of, you know, what's going down with Union Cross. You know, because Union Cross, you know, even though we're reaching the end of the game, it's still like the greatest mystery not solved of what is going down. And it's so funny how we thought that we honestly thought, I was a fool to believe, I honestly was a fool to believe that Kingdom Hearts Key, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, all that jazz, whatever, was going to end before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. I was such a fool, right? And now the story is reaching such, you know, critical mass that my eyes are glued to the possibilities, right? And whatever's going down here is going to have a ripple effect throughout the rest of Phase 2 and probably the rest of Kingdom Hearts and what's happened and what is going to happen, especially with Lauriam. And you know, I feel that it definitely was not a mistake for Nomura to make Marluxia as important as he was. He literally is the lord of the castle. Why did they make Marluxia the one to control Castle Oblivion? Why couldn't have been Xigbar? Oh, he's too lazy. Why couldn't have been Zaldin? He's pretty beefy. Why couldn't be Lexaeus? He's part of the original crew, and he's pretty beefy and stuff. Man, yo, what's his face? Vexen was all like, bro, what is this bullshit? I'm number 4, you're number 11. What's going on? You're gonna show me respect. And then Marluxia's like, no, this is my castle, bro. Like, Nomura really is playing this 5D chess where it's like, you know, there's a reason for everything and everything has a reason, right? And Marluxia was made to be the lord of the castle for such a long time now. And like, you know, why was he so important? Because he is. Why is he so important? Because he is. And yes. I feel that, you know, Marluxia's stand, Marluxia's stand is Strelitzia. I mean, like, that's like the biggest thing that we've come to, you know, take away from this. Marluxia's stand is Strelitzia, right? And, you know, the white coat she wore in Union Cross, the white coat that, you know, his stand wears in Chain of Memories and whatnot, and that was all, you know, planned from the beginning. And I've made like a pocket theory about this on Twitter, is that the reason why Kingdom Hearts characters can have stands is that their stands are created by a heart that resides within them that is full of too much regret or too much like anguish, right? Terra, being within Xehanort's heart, created Guardian, right? He was so full of anguish, it came to create Guardian. That was Terra Xehanort's stand, that was Ansem's stand, and that's how it was created, right? Marluxia's stand was probably created from the anguish felt by his sister, full of regrets that, you know, she was never able to, like, you know, confess her feelings for the player character, to, you know, be able to hang out with her brother anymore. Full of anguish, full of regrets, created the stand, So that really tells me that Strelitzia's heart indeed could be within that of Marluxia's heart, of Lauriam's heart at this point in time. That's where Strelitzia's heart could be. But how does Strelitzia's heart go from point A to point B? Because we did see Strelitzia's heart fly up to the sky when she got killed in Union Cross. So I feel there's still something left for us to understand at the end of Union Cross, where Strelitzia's heart will eventually find its way to Lauriam before everything goes down in the original Kingdom Hearts series and the Kingdom Hearts saga and whatever. Oh my god. I call them guardians. Guardian is the mysterious figure. The mysterious individual, that's Guardian. Ansem's Guardian. His stand is Guardian. Marluxia's stand is Big Scary Reaper Lady. Or whatever. Honestly. Big little Soul Reaper. Did I say Soul Reaper? No, I said Big Scary Reaper Lady. You know, I really need to see if that thing has a name. I'm gonna look into, like, I'm gonna see, is like, yo, does anyone have the? No, I mean, like, there's no way. Well, maybe there is. I don't know. Like, to get the to extract the model from Chain of Memories or Rechain of Memories, to extract the model and then see if it has a designation. And if it has a designation, that might mean it has a name. But I mean, it could be just like, you know, Marluxia trueform.exe or some shit. I don't know, right? But yeah. So that means cognitive darknesses could be stands too. Yeah, technically, technically Vanitas is Vanitas is a Ventus' stand. That just is running amok. Yeah, that like the darkness that kills Strelitzia, that's Ventus' stand. Is like stando power, just like a stand that has a mind of its own. There's some trash stands in JoJo's, man. Like Cheap Trick. That's like, they're like, oh man, is there a stand that could just act on its own and it is detrimental to the user? Yeah, Cheap Trick. Yo, cheap. Let me make sure that's the right one. Cheap Trick. That's garbage. Hey Google. JoJo Bizarre Adventure Cheap Trick.
These came back from a search.
Yeah. That motherfucker. Yeah, Cheap Trick. Yeah, fuck Cheap Trick. Yeah. So like, yo, the darkness is kind of like Cheap Trick, but not really. Where it acts on its own and it's detrimental. It's detrimental to the user. So, yeah. Man. And you know, the basic premise of this is that, honestly, like, when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, JoJo's, whatever, the Guardian, Ansem using the Guardian in Kingdom Hearts 1, that's obviously inspired by JoJo's. And one thing you need to understand, if you haven't watched JoJo's, trust me, I got to JoJo's very late, and it's an experience. It's truly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has inspired so many things within various forms of media and culture. You have to put respect on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That series inspired so many things, right? And it's obvious to see that Guardian was inspired by the concept of stands from Part 3. And, you know, the whole basis of Persona was inspired by Part 3. Like, Part 3, like, not just Part 3, but so many things was inspired by JoJo's. So you gotta put respect on JoJo's names. But, ladies and gentlemen, what an explosive episode. You guys made it lit. Thank y'all so much for coming out to the 5th dimension. This is going to be the end of the episode. Thank y'all so much. It's been great. But since we are in the 5th dimension, we do have to rate another within the 5th dimension. Alright, so let's go ahead. Ooh, we got some spicy people like all this. Oh my god. Let's see. Someone we haven't really rated in a good minute. You know what? Give me 1 second. We're gonna find this out. You know what? We are gonna go ahead and raid Tortilla. No, yeah, we're gonna raid Tortilla Senpai. I was making sure I was reading that correctly. We're gonna go ahead and raid Tortilla Senpai, another member of the 5th Dimension. Go ahead and give them our love. They are currently streaming Death Stranding. So guys, until the next episode of the 5th Dimension, until tomorrow, for those Persona fans out there, Kill la Kill Pals returns tomorrow. So until then, this has been HMK. I hope you had a grand time, and I will check you guys later.